Hi, this video is intended to teach Elkin Fire Department personnel how to enter occupancy records into the emergency reporting database. As you can see, I've logged into the ER database here, and this is our normal screen that pops up. Of course, ours may look a little different depending on what settings you have in place and what privileges you have, but most of the things you see here, everybody in the department would have access to. So if I bring the mouse over and I click on occupancy, this allows me to start entering in or altering occupancy records. This is the main occupancy screen. Right now it's organized by classification. You can see the assembly A1s are first and the assembly A2s. Of course, you can change the sort of that by clicking on that if you want to see it sorted by different categories. You can sort it by name, so on and so forth. You get the idea. So to add a new occupancy, one that's not listed in here, we go up and click on Add Occupancy. For the purposes of this demonstration, we'll use Town Hall as our occupancy that we're entering in. So first of all, we have to pick a category. In this case, business fits. And because there are no subdivisions in the business classification, we can leave the subcategories all business. If it were, say, an assembly, you'd have A1 through A5 over there. Let's go back to business. The next thing I do is I click the Next ID button. What this does is it gives a number to each individual occupancy. So when I click it, 101 appears. Then I move down to name. This is where I put the name of the current occupancy. In other words, for this is Town of Elkin Town Hall. Or, heck, I could just shorten it and say Elkin Town Hall. If I move on, I start to put in the address information, 226 North Bridge. Of course, over here I have to pick from a list, and I go to street. Now you notice the directional things either go in the prefix or suffix, depending on where they go. If you have suite or apartment numbers, they would go here. That doesn't apply in this case. Type in the town name here, and the zip code. If there's more than one building on the site and the buildings are numbered, that would go here. Latitude and longitude you do not need at this point because most of the time the system, once it enters in all this information and it gets finalized in the database, it'll automatically fill this out for us. We do have a phone number blank that we need to fill out though. If you know the fax number, of course you can put it here. And this is where you would put email information. You don't have to worry about National Grid at this point. You don't have to worry about map page either, or business license. But now we come to one that's fairly important, assessed value. This is not normally a kind of thing that we just know off the top of our head. So we're going to use the help of the county's GIS system. If you notice here in a different tab, I've got the GIS system pulled up. And I'm going to do a search by address. And look, there's Town Hall. You notice it tells me right here the total assessed value, $593,160. So I'm going to enter that in over here without any commas or anything else. And we have another blank here for occupancy type. Just pick the one that fits the best when you look through these. In this case, we'll put business. In occupancy zone, pick the one that fits the best. Town Hall's in the downtown area, so we'll pick that. And then for station, we pick our station. If we have a building that's made up of more than one unit, let's say an apartment complex or a duplex or something like that, we would put the number of units in the number of units blank. That's not the case with Town Hall, so we leave it blank. The next thing we fill out is the assessor parcel number. And to get this, we have to go back to the GIS system. And I've still got Town Hall pulled up here. I go to click on Property Record Card, and it makes a different tab, and it gives me information about the actual property itself. We'll use some more of this in a few moments, so we'll leave it open. But what I need is this number right here. I can scribble it down if I need to, or I can just cut and paste and put that in the parcel number blank. There you go. Construction type. I picked the one that fits the best here. If it's an assembly occupancy, we'll have an occupancy load. Put that number in there if it's been calculated. If not, when we do calculate it, we'll put it in. For building status, in this case, it's occupied and operating. Pick the best answer for whatever you have here. The next option is year built. Now, if you know that, go ahead and enter it in. But if you don't, again, our property card comes into use here from GIS. If we look right up here at AYB, that's actual year built, 1987. Again, that property card is good information for us. 1987. Critical infrastructure. Is the building something critical? Because it holds the police department, it fits under emergency services. So I would click there. If none of those apply, I would leave it blank. For the time being, leave assigned inspector blank unless I come back and complete it or someone else on the staff does. We'll assign whoever needs to be inspecting that building based on the needs of the department. But for now, leave it blank. Our next option here is property use. If I click the list button, I get a pop-up that popped up off the screen. Let me drag it back on here. And I pick the one that fits the best. I'm looking in mercantile and business first. It may be business office, but if you're not sure, scroll through them and see what options you have. If there's a town hall option in here, we'll pick it. Public or government might fit also. Courthouse definitely does not fit. You know, I think based on our options here, I'm going to stick with office. So I come back down to business, click business office, because that's technically what town hall is. It's a business office for the town. And the rest of these you can leave blank. Once you've filled out that information, click the Save button. You see it looks like a little floppy disk. There's one at the top and there's one at the bottom. So either way, you can't go wrong. If you don't click the Save button, every bit of the work you've done so far will be lost. So it's important that once you get it filled out, you click this. And now it's been saved. Now you notice the screen looks a little different now too. The latitude and longitude has automatically been added in, and the rest of the information generally looks the same, but now we have some tabs across the top. The Contacts tab is what we use to list people that have an important role with the building, such as a manager or a point of contact or something of that sort. Let's go ahead and add a contact while we're here. So for the purposes of this, we'll put manager. We're going to enter Missy Calhoun in here since she's our primary contact for things at Town Hall. If there's one that fits better, pick it. You could certainly enter John Holcomb. In this case, it's manager also. And 226 North Bridge. Scroll down to street, Elkin, North Carolina, 28621. Put in Missy's email address. Phone number again. And any of the other pertinent information you'd have for that person, go ahead and put it in. Fill out as much as you can. Then we hit save. And that saves that particular person as a contact. And again, I could put John Holcomb in here. I could put Robert Fuller since he's over Public Works, that sort of thing. All that information would go in contacts. The next tab over is inspections. This is actually where we enter inspection results and that sort of thing in. The next tab over is pre-fire plans. We can enter in as much of this information as we have. One important one here that might be helpful to you, you notice that there's a square feet calculation. If you need to measure it, you can, but remember our property card? Our property card has the area listed on it there, 8082. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that in. 8082. and we'll do a save. Fill out as much of this as you know. For right now, I'm going to skip it, but you can see what goes in here, and you can get an idea what they're looking for. If there are fire protection systems that are in place, go ahead and list details here. Things like where the FDC is and how many there are, where the sprinkler room is, where water supply info is. As we enter more hydrants into our system, you'll see more of those pop up here. And we can also add systems such as if I can bring that over, there we go, such as automatic sprinkler systems or fire alarms. We can enter all the information about those in here, so that way we know about them already. There's a files link here where we can add files. If we have, let's say, a picture of the building or a diagram of its layout or any other files that apply, we can put those in here. This is where permits go. This is how we add permits. We'll cover that at some other time. And there's also an Actions tab to show different things that we've done with this particular building. But what you saw in these first two tabs, Info, you remember the first stuff that we filled out, and the Contacts tab, are the important things for initially entering in an occupancy. So that's all there is to it. Now if we go back to the occupancies and we go down to business, we'll see the town hall is entered in. Look there, Elkin Town Hall. And if you ever need to edit it, the little notepad with a pencil on it is how we edit it. So I can click on that and we can change anything that needs to be changed, like if the business changes names or whatever else might happen. So that's how you enter an occupancy. If you have any questions, contact one of the paid staff. We'll be glad to help you. And that's it. So thanks for your patience, and make it work. Thanks.